started.
Agree with this personally. I think that while Evelyn was strong, I think execution errors were ultimately what.
First pick Gangplank. I like it. Fun. It's good. The Evelyn ban. E.
I think what's so interesting about Rogue is that
Evelyn 強いから2試合目エヴィンピックされるとやばいから2試合目も負けたらエヴィンせいで2試合目も負けたら怖いセナフィリオス・ケイトリンエズリエルバンされてるからセナ以外何が入ってるADC エズもバンされてるしカイサきついなカリスタレインはきつい 100% モルガナカリスタはあとあれいいと思うけどどうだろうモルガナはないなノーテラスまあねカリスタだから敵スラッシュピックしてるからブルツクランクブルツクランクの方がいい OK ナイスあれブルツクランク好きあとは俺フナティックだったらまあジャングルかなピックしたいなどうだろうオンか OK GP に対してオン止めれる
I mean, it's really cool, but it's the first time Vander has ever played it competitively. Like, he has never played this in a regular season, in a playoff, ever. It's the first time we have ever seen him on Blitzcrank.
Well, it's basically
a very long career.
Yeah, exactly, right?
This guy's played so many games.
To Worlds and he hasn't played Blitzcrank. I'm really looking forward
to
it.
Okay. Thunder is the banするかな
I would like to see a Lucian ban. I'm gonna keep saying it because I really think that Lucian for Nemesis is really good, and I think it's a champion that he's gonna keep having success on. And I know that there are AP junglers that are still viable and available, and Rogue aren't banning those AP junglers right now.
And the thing is while the Lucian's still available, it means that Fnatic don't have to ban the Azir because they feel that they have the answer into it. Now, obviously, if Lucian does get banned and the Azir comes out, you also then have to deal with Nemesis's Kog'Maw that he showcased against SK Gaming in Fnatic's last game of the split. So we know that they've got plans, and they're
Lilia もありカゼックス全部ジャングルバンかリーシンセジョニー入ってあるけどセジョニーじゃなくてニダリとかグレイブズピックしたらニダリ出てくる可能性あるから
AP champions that are popular in Europe, Echo Jungle, maybe Diana Jungle.
ルシアン、OK、ジャングル最後にしてる。またルシアンか。
So I understand why they wouldn't want to lock in Lucian first rotation, because if you do, then it guarantees an AP jungler, and Rogue could have banned it out. But they didn't ban the Lucian, which meant that they could lock the Lucian. They did it last game. You know that Rogue is going to pick Azir into this. Like, Frost is saying, Rogue is a little predictable when it comes to drafting. They did the Azir last game. They're going to do the Azir again. And then this is going to give Fnatic the option to, I think, just lock in the Cutlass.
The only option I'm thinking of is perhaps instead of the Azir, you go for something like the Rise, which we saw last and actually have a really good performance.
Set Azir.
Okay, it's going to be a okay, yes. All I'm saying is, I wanted to give some
どうだまあ、Azir 悪くはない。ルシアンのいい止めれるし。ここゲイズ無理だね。タリアタリア。AP 必要か。タリアとかエリス。ジャングルそれしかなくないカーサスあり。どうだろう。カーサス悪くはないけど、 敵倒されるかな。
I'm not salty about it. There's the
And
Carthus.
again, I think that when you look at Rogue's comp in isolation, you're like, okay, cool. I see what it's trying to do.
俺お茶買ってある。
Very strong 2v2
忘れてた。
AD carry support combo.
俺
with
お
the
茶
Burst and the
あ
Blitzcrank.
った。
They can make a lot of stuff happen with this. They also, I think, early on actually
ジャ
have
ズ
a
ミン
strong
茶。
matchup with the Gangplank. And you can actually play towards the bot side of the map. The thing is,
あ、
Larson's not
暑
a
い。
champion. I don't
やっ
think
ぱり
they
な
can
日本の
guarantee
夏暑いね。
which means that playing around bot side of the map is a lot harder because that mid pro you're not going to be able to guarantee. Meanwhile,
Okay.
unless you get bot lane ahead, Fnatic's going to keep scaling up. They have Senna, they have Karthus, they have Ornn. This is so strong, and I think that Fnatic are looking good coming into game 2.
And we're on to the rift for game 2 of Rogue versus Fnatic. Reminder, if Fnatic or Rogue win here, if Rogue win, Mad Lions is going to Worlds. If Fnatic win, Fnatic is going to Worlds, and we are continuing in playoffs. So the stakes have been set, and I just have to ask this question.
ミートしてチェックしてる。
Think if Fnatic go 2-0 up with the Lucian?
ヒロさんめっちゃ前。なんで待たないの？
Preface is the reason
ああ、
why
技刺すだけか。
Evolution
OK。
is because
It unlocks the jungler.
Nemesis, well, that, but Nemesis as a player this split has been under huge debate.
うん。
Fans have been asking.
まあ、
Like,
OK。
and you can see just like in isolation the stats, he's not been performing well, especially relatively speaking to Larson. So one of the big things that we as casters were looking at was how do you deal with this mid discrepancy?
Larson vs Nemesis のスタッツ
That Nemesis plays
強なくない？
plays them better than he does.
あ、時間。
How do you deal with that? How do you handle it?
時間いつも忘れる。
Which works perfectly
あ、
for him.
25
Evolution
分。
is very safe.
25秒。
It's independent. He can be strong in
Go.
lane. He doesn't
Okay.
need jungle protection because he's
7
got so much mobility.
8
You can put him in
9
the side lane. He always has
30
team fights. Like this is perfect.
Okay.
And then it also allows self-mates to play carry junglers like the Evelyn in game 1, and now we're seeing the Karthus in game 2. So I think that while Nemesis is not a like true carry, he played really well in game 1, and I think that he can just be self-sufficient, and that's exactly what Fnatic need to allow.
カーサス、まあダメ、AP ダメ絶対出るけど、
You knew it was coming. What was Nemesis going to have available to him? And the Lucian pick has come out. Now, reminder, if the Lucian
で、セット、インベードとかできないから大丈夫か。
So Fnatic came ready to rumble in the draft phase against Rogue, and Rogue may be being punished for how predictable they are. But they think it was execution based, and they're running back another 5v5 comp.
And there were definitely a lot of execution errors from them in the first game. We saw, Hansama and Vander getting caught.
あとカーサスのジャングルクリアの時間とっても早い。
From Rogue and Fnatic, with their experience, with their pedigree, were able to capitalize on those and pick off the players from Rogue. Now we see Rogue have the push in the bottom lane. They're looking for some damage on this turret. Last time, it was the other way. Reckless and Hylissang were pushing back onto Hansama and Vander. And both the junglers actually started on the bottom side and have worked their way up to the top side of the map.
Now, obviously, very different goals for both these junglers. Like Eve on Karthus, you want your 2 full clears, you want to rush level 6 as quickly as possible. Level 4 is kind of the big ganking window if Karthus does want to turn towards one of his lanes and ganks. He has access to Wall of Pain, whereas Inspired on this set is really going to be more of a gank-heavy jungle.
お、
Hylissang gonna get hooked here. Last
いい
invasion.
感じじゃない？
Ignite goes down and Vander actually
イグナイトも使ったし、お
from
ほ
Hansama.
その E のダメージ。
Gets back to Hylissang.
キンドレッドのダメージ。キンドレッドじゃないか。カリスタか。カリスタのダメージすごい。
Sitting behind his support and is able to dish out a lot of damage. That's going to put Hylissang in a very difficult position. And I think that Thresh Senna, not quite the same 2v2 power that a Thresh Ash has. Damn it. No.
It wasn't me!
That's not what I meant. You guys know, I meant to say Ash. And so they're going to get bullied around a little
I mean,
bit more.
it is in Europe.
ずっとカバーしてる。フリーズしてる。
Look at this nice guy!
欲しいね。
Inspired.
いや、
Thank you, Observer.
止めに行けないでしょ。
Gets the minion wave for him, pulls it off, freezes it
Endo would
for
have taken
Larson.
that camp in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Endo would
ガ
have
トルクラブ両方とも取られるの？
taken that wave as well.
The super
これはきついね。
Larson doesn't burn his teleport to get back into the lane and still gets all of that CS, whereas Nemesis has now burnt his TP, and it means we could see Rogue trying to use Larson to get around the map.
What's really interesting is
でもカーサスのジャングルクリア早いからまだ大丈夫。
when Caps froze the wave there, Humanoid couldn't approach and shove it out. But a Lucian can, because Lucian's so safe in terms of his mobility and wave clear that even if an Inspired shows up, he's actually not that afraid of dying.
Also,
めっちゃ奥までピンクワード置いてある。
control ward and hit the other
いい
river
ね。
on the bottom. Boop
お
and boop.
うん。
No, the other one. Jesus.
It's an extra
まあ
ward. We've highlighted
OK
it all, but as you
関空されないように。
I assume this gives you so much safety in the mid lane.
Exactly, and it's rightfully so. And immediately the pivot from Nemesis was, the wave got frozen on me, and I think it was actually Karthus as he walked by, dropped the ward for him, or Lucian put it there, and then as soon as Nemesis had push and the ability to move, he immediately planted a very deep control ward. So he knows that the target's on his back, and that set will be visiting his lane, and look at the respect that Nemesis is giving.
I do want to bring attention to the fact that Finn has burnt his flash in the top lane. Now, I'm not sure.
ルシアン怖がってるね。前全然出たくない。セット近くにいると、近くにいると思ってるから、
obvious avenue to gank here for Selfmade if he ever wants to try and get that Karthus in and try and get those kills rolling.
I mean, at this point, I think it is safe, like you're saying, you know, if he wants to
ま
do
あ
it.
いいポーク
But
ダメー
Karthus
ジ
is。like, there's no reason to do this. He got his 2 full clears. He's now level 5. He's going to be walking back into his jungle and just power farming for 6. As I think the observers are showing us how he missed his flash.
Yep.
He was too close to the wall. Bad back timer. Or bad back placement.
Yeah, it could have just gone back to his turret, right? And then he backs pretty easily.
ミッドとトップレベル6くなった。
Awareness to be able to step forward. He's now going to TP in, has hit level 6, and slaps.
リコールして TP した。
Thank you very much again, observers, for helping us.
ドラゴン取れないと思うけど、やってみてるっぽい。
But you can highlight it still.
リピ売るとトップ使ったから危ない。ドラゴンやるの。
What I'd love to say here is, you know, with that cannon barrage, you can influence the other side of the map. But Finn
ここでフリーズしたいけど、
has decided
難しいね。
Wait, I got it. No, it
Freeze
will
up.
be back up as soon as Hansama is actually level 6 with Vander, and then they can make a play. Use it there to get the wave reset.
あー、カーサスいるか。
trying to take away
あー、でも大丈夫そう。大丈夫か。
this one. Hansama,
OK。
the first to answer from the bottom lane, so Inspired secures.
テナーとルシーいなかったからか。
Know how that match ended for them.
Okay, so I'm still looking at when the GP ultimate's going to come back off cooldown. I really want to see Rogue make a play towards the bot side of the map because you need to get this Kalista going. When we look at scaling, you're playing against a Karthus, you're playing against a Senna. Bwipo's just going to act as that front line and engage, and I think around these neutral objectives, Fnatic have just such a strong team fight comp that unless Rogue get that early advantage, it's going to be harder for them to win out in the 5v5s later.
But I think what's about to happen, however, is that Rogue are going to shove this wave in. They're then going to reset and start walking topside because Selfmade's going to clear his bot side.
Oh.
Chaos. The blue buff will be
Oh.
spawning, and they want to give it to
いい
this
ね。
man.
あー、
Now,
タワーに届かなかった。
This was just shoved back there.
ちょっともいなかったし、
How much more mobile this Lucian is. He dashes in, he gets some damage off the
そのトレード負けただけ。
becomes so much harder for Larson to trade in. He's even had to go for a Seeker's Armguard first on the Azir.
ネメシス、この試合ネメシスの方がうまい。
DPS.
just respecting it. We just talked about it. The Herald is going to be spawning, and here comes the rotation.
あ、フラッシュ。
They've got
あー、
the
これは
here, but Finn
だね。
caught out early.
逃げない。
Flash from that back earlier on, and the lay waste
あ、ファーストブラッド。いいね。カザスにファーストブラッド入んの。
gobble that one up.
あー、フリーズされる。また。
Did all the work there, but now Vanda's looking for Selfmade.
Oh, the Croc's gonna get in the way. Turn off the defile. He flashes away. Selfmade doesn't manage to dodge the hook, and Vanda actually not yet level 6, but the ignite going down. Dawning.
あー、遅い。間に合わなかった。セナのウルト。あー、もったいない。
Yeah, well done by Vander there. Gets the punish, and here's the rotation that you were talking about, Frost.
まあ、ボットのセースなくなるけど。
Interference. The fact that Rogue got that kill onto Selfmade is definitely valuable. Gonna put that Karthus down.
おー、ナイス。
River has no flash and has no way to get away from this. The Ren should just be
あ
enough.
ー、カリスあともう一回。あー。あ、ミッド。あ、ジール。倒れた。カサスのウルト。
This kite doesn't matter.
あ、キル入ったもう一つ。オッケーオッケー。これはいいね。カサスめっちゃ喜んでる。
They are finding these advantages in the early game, but
助けに行って、
things elsewhere on the map.
何も見えなかった。
Lawson
フ
tries
ラッシュも使って
but a great lantern from
いいキルそこまで進めなかった。
And then the Karthus ultimate comes through to get an execution. That's 2 kills now, sitting on top of Selfmade in the early game.
カーサスにキル入る。
Fnatic's carry is getting gold in the early
7 800ゴールド ?900 ゴールドくらい
team.
カーサス勝ってる。やばい。カーサス強いね。 やっぱりなんかそういう弱いなジャングルピックするとカーサス強いな。で、青バフ、なんだっけ、ルシャン青バフ必要ない。マナムネ組んでるからいつも。トップにリフトハラド使いたいのか。おおレックレスめっちゃ失敗した。やばい。スフティーズあるか。逃げれるかな。いや。エクセクラッシュ。間に合わなかったね。フナティック。レックレス失敗。ランタンクリックするタイミングやばいな。見てこれ。ブリッツカンクは、レックレスに行くかもしれない。で、これで引っ張った。引っ張りながらランタンクリックした。だから2人も近くに行って、フラッシュ使って逃げるしかなかった。ヒールも使ったし。それは、悲しいね。それは悲しい。アンラッキーだ。アンラッキーかな。ミスクリック。ランタン引っ張るタイミングが良くなかった。おおすごい、ビジョンなしで。バンダーうまいよ。みんないつもなんかバンダー褒めてくれないけど、俺はバンダーうまいと思う。ドラゴン上がるね。ドラゴンギブしてトップタワー折れるかな。リタード。オッケー、セットトップにいるか。リタードあったら上がるね。こういう時カーサスすると欲しいね。ギリギリ残って生き残れたから。リタードまだ突破してる。ブーン。オッケー。そのリタード。使い方良かった。ドラゴンギブスの悪くなかったと思う。So that they could actually catch the wave and keep pressure, so that as Nemesis rotated bots to set up the play, Rogue actually couldn't punish in the mid lane, and they just traded top, which was going to go down anyway. So Fnatic kind of maximizing mana while Rogue continued to follow. 危ないと思う。倒せれるかな。無理だね。オンは強いね。ごめん。オンタワーダイブ無理だよ。難しすぎる。その GP ウルトも GP ウルト強いね。ルシアントップをしてるけど GP のウルトあるからもう恐れない。カーサスのウルトもったいない。ギリギリ。カーサスにキル渡せばよかった。それからカーサスウルト使わなければよかったけど、だったらギブだね。 クールダウン長いから
I think it's worth it though because you get the last and
ゴールドとかアシストとかも入んない
lane. I'm surprised Reckless didn't go for that.
時はそれは悲しい
Wasn't sure where all
悲しすぎる
but Selfmade also went bot lane to make sure that Rogue could not get that tower. So it feels like that Fnatic's lane assignments right now very on point, very aware of what Rogue is trying to do, and they're trying to mitigate this early game snowball that Rogue have worked so hard to build for Hansama.
They have a gold lead getting up to the 15-minute mark as well. About 700 or so in Fnatic's advantage, and the series already being 1-0 for them. They are looking for a quick second win. Hook lands onto Lars, and Hillsang has been on point. The Emperor's about to go back to Dawning Shadow, keep Hillsang alive.
逃げれた
It was a good little shuffle away from Lars,
すごい
but Fnatic is showing, and Hillsang is showing.
フラッシュまだあるし
Yeah, and it's again not just Rogue being predictable in their drafts, but being predictable.
おおブリッツクランク強い
Clean on the Blitz
ブリッツ強いね
Anything you can do, I can do better. It's Hook City in the bottom lane.
But the thing is Rogue was still predictable. They were caught out with great vision control
ボ
from
ットタワーも取れ
and
た
also
し
the fact that they'll always rotate towards that second herald, and they were caught out. Now, because Vander does
リ
make
フトも
the
取るか
play on the back half of that, they trade the mid tower for this herald, which means it should just be neutralized mid tower for mid tower as soon as this herald is procced.
And, we'll have a look across.
リフトになんかオブジェクティブにいいのダメージ結構ナーフされてる気がする
Fnatic Nemesis has won. He's actually sitting on the most CS in the game, a 2-0-1 scoreline. Is getting up towards that Essence Reaver as well. He's having a great series. When you think about how bad he has been for the rest of the split, like
ルシャン狙ってるかな
3 mid laner in Larson versus a bottom 3 mid laner in Nemesis, and it really doesn't look like that right now.
One might say that perhaps he's having a great Lucian performance, and that Lucian is a great pick for him, and it seems that Fnatic came prepared. I feel like that they have figured out exactly how to set up Nemesis best.
ああ分かってない
As you said,
Ah.
I think he's having a great game. He could easily win this 1 versus 1. It's a 2v1 though, so I'm not sure he can win that.
はあおおあー危ないな
He's
ギリギリセーフ
He's chilling. Now, let's draw attention to the vision that Rogue currently have around the top side of the map. They're stealing away the red buff. They have all these wards all around the top side
お
of the
ピン
map.
クすごいトップサイド
For the Baron area,
ロー
Baron's
グ
gonna be the
トップサイドに
objective,
ピンク
though. Looks like
めっちゃ置いてある
Nemesis wasn't stunned up
あ
there,
ー
so inspired.
さっきのセットのウルト微妙だったね
Tower will be taken though still by Hansama.
もうちょっとなんかやっぱりカリッサとかブリッツに持ってきたかったけど
Ocean Dragon in the bot
失敗
side,
して
will be their second
無理
dragon.
だね
And Ocean Soul, very
う
beneficial.
ーんフナでこんなにドラゴンソウル渡したくドラゴンを渡したくないね
I do want to,
やっぱり結構強くなるどんどん時間稼ぐと次最後のドラゴンもしフナで次のドラゴンも取ってソウルポイントになったらだいたい27分でしょ27分になったらとカーサスめっちゃダメージ入ると思う今リアンドリー組んでるでしょリアンドリーの後デスキャップは無理けどなんかロッドを2つとかくらいまではいけると思う10分で2500ゴールド入れるでしょ
G2 Mad Lions, who are good early game teams that have been successful with this champion, whereas other teams have not.
But I will say that Rogue right now have 4 towers in their favor. The gold is dead even. And I think
お
right now
なんで
realizing that
あ
the Kalista
ーイコール止めたのか
is how do they play these
あ
mid
ー TP 使ったの
fights?
か TP 使ったから逃げれたでもリコール止めなくてもよかったと思うけどまあ時間見てない時間ちゃんと分かってないもしかして間に合わなかった
It's very difficult to play at that range disadvantage. Now, of course, you're going to have Lucian dashing in. We're currently at 30 stacks, so Senna's still ramping up over time. But when you're playing against champions like the Karthus, things like the Ornn, these are very difficult champions to get around when you're in these team fights. And that's my biggest concern for Hansama and how he's going to execute.
I think the benefit that she's going to have here, or Kalista in this composition, is that you don't necessarily need to rely on her damage to continue to ramp because you have Gangplank and Azir, so you're protected there. And it really just
リアンジーズナイス カーサスリアンジス強いよ。
Gangplank ultimate, and then you just toss in Vander. He silences everyone, and it's kind of like that makeshift Malphite ult. And so, even though her damage theoretically will fall off, I think Rogue have enough answers in their composition that that won't necessarily matter. And her
レベル
whole
11になっ
job
た。
then is kiting around the backside, picking up stragglers, slowing people down, and providing utility through that engage.
Right now, Rogue are trying to gain control of the bottom side of the map. Nemesis has been here quite a while.
ピックを探してて、なんか誰かキャッチしたい。せっかくブリッツもいるし。
Actually, looks like both teams have kind of agreed on a split map right now. Rogue have total control of this bottom side jungle, but Fnatic just like, well, okay, we'll force mid.
アジールが、まあ大丈夫か。4人一投してる。ベース？ああ、無理だね。
Rogue were hunting Fnatic.
どうだろう。
Doing a good job to zone them out of the mid lane, and then we'll probably take some chip damage.
そうだね。あ、王のウルトラ。あ、フックミスった。あ、ミニオン当たった。9。20分だけど、まだサポートのアイテム組み合ってない。ずっとロームしてる。まあね。ローグちゃんとビジョンコントロール取ってるから。カーサスめっちゃ勝ってるけど、カリスタの方が勝ってる。で、ルシアンもちょっとぐらい勝ってる。まあね、カーサス、ファームするの早い。カーサスジャングル。
Like, I think Rogue answered well to what Fnatic were doing to at least trade. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily hurt them as bad, but I do not think that that was the intended plan where they're like, I mean, we let them push down mid.
But they set up all the vision in bot side of the map. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, surely, but it was like 2.5 minutes before the trade spawns, you know what I mean? So I'm like, surely they're doing this for something, right?
It was for the Trinity Force and the Infinity Edge. They were trying to create
Fnatic give a face check that. That's kind of what my question is.
Look, guys, there's a
お、危ねえ。危ねえな。カーサス、フラッシュ使って逃げれたけど。レーフか。オンにそんなにダメージ狙ってもあんまり意味ないね。オンじゃなくて他のチャンピオン引っ張ったらもう 100% キル入れる。
So I thought that after Fnatic used all of their ultimates...
They're going for Baron.
Oh, okay. I understand the pivot now from Rogue. It is a little dangerous, of course.
It's super dangerous.
Because they only have Vander to tank it up. Set is on the way, and Fnatic have a beeline right now.
無理でしょ。ベート
So I was
してくれるようなベー
surprised
ト
because I thought that looking at the health in that replay, Rogue could have gone for the re-engage.
あ
I think the problem
あ、青
they
天
had
ケ
was
ト
they
チェッ
already
ク
used
した。
Fnatic's ultimate earlier,
ベートで分かったから誰も前に行かなかった。
and there was no clear or easy way for
Oh.
actually starting up again. All right, fair enough.
This is a good example, though, because I agree with you. There's some indecision in the
It
calls.
feels like it.
お、今気づいた。セットまだレベル10だよ。カースレベル
I
13。
like the idea, but it's not
すごい
fair
な。
in terms of its execution. You know, maybe if Finn's barrels connect, because he was the one member that didn't rotate over, Inspire reset himself to get more health, was
セッ
sprinting.
トジャングル
That's a very different call if he's able to
ファイト
jump
負け
out
てる。
back on Baron, and Fnatic can't as easily then immediately rotate to contest. But that was very much like, okay, leave it, let's shoot Baron. Oh, Baron didn't work out. Okay, back to mid, reset. And now Rogue have actually just lost a bunch of time, and Fnatic are sitting closer to Soul Point on a comp that will outscale that Kalista. And again, you still have the Gangplank. They now have him having that Essence Ream, that Trinity Force, creating that safe lane that he's been farming in. Finn is no longer in a weak position, but Hansama is going to start falling off his damage output, and it's going to be more...
それは何組んでるかな。ラビットファイアキャノンだったらいいけど、なんか最近なんか変なビルドが多いから、IE とかそういうなんか微妙なビルド。結局サポートじゃん。
this. He has a Leandries. He's now got a blasting wand.
デスキャップ狙ってない。OK。カサスはボイドサーフ狙ってる。まあそれでもいいや。全然悪くない。ダメージめっちゃ出るし。で、次のドラゴン枠までボイドサーフを欲しがってる気がする。
I'll say it's a cheap item, and so he can reduce some of the healing while still having.
I think it's primarily for Hansama.
Okay.
That would be my estimation.
He also can very easily spread it around on everyone.
But that's true, yeah.
So,
Piercing shadow can do it.
I have just been informed that Reckless was at about 45 stacks the last time we just checked in. So yeah, I feel like 60 stacks. That's the point at which.
まあこれはただファームするしかないじゃない。カサスとかフナリックはファームしたい。ファームしたらどんどん強くなってティームファイト勝ちやすいから。ローグはやっぱりブリッツ使って誰かをキャッチしたい。ルシアンとかセナとか。ルシアンセナキャッチしたら終わり。勝てる。でもキャッチしなければ何もできない。
And they have a window of what they're going to decide to do. Do Rogue decide that they were trying to find a pick, maybe immediately rotate that into a Baron, which is kind of what they were previously.
Oh, キャノンミス。
Now they've gone back into the lanes, will probably grab as much.
OK、I アップグレードしたか。セナだとブラッククリーバーだけでしょ。I 組まないから。組んだらもう本当に最低。
And I think this is the thing, like we've said it about Rogue a few times, they've constantly played a specific style at this point, right? And Hansama actually isn't in the best of shapes here, because Fnatic are all on their way up towards the top side. He's going to jump across the wall and just back away. Drugs. He'll be fine, but yeah, if we know the style Rogue play, if we
バレてる。青天気と見つかれた。
understanding of it across the course of the split,
They're caught.
then
What was the game plan?
They were trying to
they were
find a
kind of
pick on the
Nemesis.
wave.
They were looking for
When
Nemesis.
they
追いかけないのか。俺だったらもう行くべきと思う。
There's a full conversation happening.
キャッチしたらバロンできるから。
Your mom, you're just like trying to
まあセーフティーのプレイだね。これセーフティー。気をつけて。次キャッチされたら終わりだからね。カーサスまだボイドサーフ終わってない。あとどのぐらいかな。次のファイトのためにボイドサーフ欲しかった。
Okay, I guess we'll just take this then. I honestly think that's what because like Fnatic have not had to do a huge amount this game. They've been free to scale up. They've had so much control over the side lane with Nemesis on his Lucian. Senna's been slowly scaling up, ramping up, and like while Reckless and Hylissang were punished hard in the early game 2 versus 2, like for the last 10 minutes we haven't really seen much. So I think Fnatic, while the goal deficit is sitting very comfortable, and this next fight is going to
ここでドラゴン早くできるんでしょ。
This is big bait though.
アジールとカリストもいるから早くできなかったらやばい。これは微妙な戦い。これはやばい。逃げないと。これは逃げないと。ローグなんだよ。カーサスも本当に強いな。なんかアジール倒すともうできることないから。
Now they do, yeah, they will burn it very quickly, especially with Warren. Here's the thing though, like the teleports are there for Larson about 12 seconds. Taking another look at this fight, you know, Rogue decide that the Ocean Soul is the most important thing to secure, so they're not all on board when the initial fight happens, and Larson is shut down at the very beginning of it. If that Azir hadn't gotten
アジールキャッチされたこと良くない。誰かバロン取れる。
I mean, I kind of have to come back to the execution thing again for Rogue, where Larson had his flasher. He doesn't flash away from the knockup when the Ornn hits him, and that chains his killed. Finn's positioning.
無理だね。
Dragon Pit wasn't able to get involved in the fight. Like everything just kind of went the way of Fnatic, and now they've got themselves the Baron buff, and they're looking to go 2-up in this series.
Right, what you were talking about right before that fight was just the fact that Fnatic really haven't had to do anything this game. They've just kind of been answering what Rogue have been doing. And that's what fans have been wanting from Fnatic this entire split. It was always the question of, what are you doing? Don't do anything, just scale.
Wasn't it a quick shot that was like, why? And in every post-match thread, you'd see that repeated. I mean, like, well, you don't have to ask those questions for Fnatic right now. They're just kind of taking things as they come and just responding to everything that Rogue has been doing. And like, I'm just kind of a little disappointed because I was really excited for Rogue at the beginning of the series. I said that on paper, Rogue should be the clear favorites. They look super clean. They had
もうこの試合終わりじゃない？
an easy way to deal
どうやって勝てんの？
throughout the split, and I feel like we haven't seen it. So I'm hoping that if Fnatic win this game, we get to see a little bit more of the Rogue that did 2-0 Fnatic during the regular season. But if they don't show up, if they don't get their head in the game, Fnatic is going to get a 3-0 clean sweep.
And it's not just that, it's the fact that Rogue have a spot at Worlds. And I wanted this playoffs to be a defining moment for them to
絶対
show
無理
that they
と
can
思う。
battle with the best. And losing to Fnatic, who today are playing very well, but only had a 50% win rate in the regular season, does not fill me with confidence about this team. It fills me with a little bit of dread that once again we're going to see a team with some promising players just falter when it comes to the international stage.
It's the fact that we don't just want consistency from Rogue now, we want greatness. And that's what winning these best of fives was supposed to be. Now, it's not over yet, but we're still waiting for the
うん、ラピッドファイア。リシアン強いな。
And of course they will have another opportunity next week if they
い
lose.
つもなんかレイン勝ってる
Fnatic
ネ
win
メシス。
today. Rogue will play up
あ、レイン勝たなくても大丈夫。だからカーサス有利取れば、
to see if they can
それで十分。
of action. Whippo here stepping forward in the mid lane as three members of Fnatic barrel down in bot lane. Cannonbarrage will come out self-made.
うーん、
HP already, but Healer
ここでキャッチしないと、あー、無理だ。終わりだ。ほら、見て、この、おー。まあ、カーサスの言うと、うん。まあ、失敗しても強い。ダメージめっちゃ出てるし。これ3-0ファナティック？ TP のウルト使って何もできなかったから。
Accept a 4,000 gold lead with Ocean Soul only 50 seconds away.
I think it's worth highlighting that we have been a bit of a Debbie Downer on Rogue this game, but Fnatic, there's very little to criticize with how they've been playing this game. You know, Whippo, a couple deaths in the early game, and same for Reckless and Hillisang, but they played the mid game cleanly. I really like their lane assignments. I like how they've moved around the map. They had a really good focus and control around these neutral objectives, and the way they've been playing these fights have been clean. So game one, it felt like sheer dominance individually from Fnatic. Game two, it feels slow, controlled, patient play, and I think that if you are a Fnatic fan, you're optimistic seeing this because they don't just have to win by dominating you in the side. You know that they can play you through smart map play and punishing those mistakes.
あ、後ろから TP 入ってるけど、あ、2人とも TP した。バラバラだけど、大丈夫か？このウルト下から来てる。TP のウルト微妙。カーサスのダメージすごい。あ、GG だ。ダメージ強すぎる。お、終わりだ。まあ、そうだね。カーサスデスキャップ組めばよかった。そうしないとオンアップグレードできるアイテムない。ダメージないな。オンに。めっちゃ笑ってる。めっちゃ喜んでる。 あれ順番変わってない？レックレスが端っこにいる。で、ヒルさんはレックレスとネメシスの間に座ってる。なんでだろう、おかしい。まあ、一応、フナティック、今 2-0 で勝ってるから、試合も勝つじゃないこの状態だったら。